Rising up through the gears, we cross the line to start a flying lap of every 2020 circuit, and we begin in Shanghai, hitting 315 in 8th gear on entry, slightly uphill, reducing speed and negotiating a slight off-camber, almost full rotation right-hander down to 100, before the switch back left in 3rd gear and back on the power. Rising back uphill and shifting through the gears, we will arrive at the Hungaro Rings turn 4 in 7th gear at 280, shifting down to 6th for the apex at 220, pulling immediately back to the left for the tricky triple right that makes up turns 15, 16 and 17 at Abu Dhabi, slamming hard on the brakes and unsettling the car for the 90-degree right at 17, 3rd gear at just 90 kilometers an hour. Back on the power, it's a long run back up through the gears for the backstretch at Suzuka, taking in the mighty 130R in 8th gear at 300, gaining altitude all the while as we run up to the Red Bull Ring's brilliant overtaking spot at Remus. 2nd gear, 80 kilometers an hour. The tight right-hander opens up into the downhill pull at Spa, and suddenly we're into Eau Rouge and the compression at the bottom of the hill in 8th gear at well over 300 kilometers an hour. Over the brow of the hill at Radion, trees pulling in overhead, and the track naturally sweeps to the left, hard on the brakes, and down to 2nd gear for the hairpin at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Exiting for a slight kink left, we've got another short blast on the power until we arrive at the Double Droite de Beausset at Paul Ricard. Arriving in 8th gear at 290 plus, reducing speed and shifting down through the tricky spooned curve, we exit in 5th, blasting through the left at the Virage de Bendor and emerging on Lakeside Drive at Melbourne. Catch your breath at 300 kilometers an hour, 8th gear, and it's a quick flick down to 250 in 7th for the super fast switch left and right that encapsulates Albert Park's turns 11 and 12. We're now onto one of the circuit's longest blasts, which we've taken from Baku's monstrous start-finish straight, hitting 350 kilometers an hour, plus it's another overtaking spot as we go hard on the brakes for the 3rd gear, 115 kilometer an hour left-hander at Baku's turn 1. Emerging now on Singapore's start-finish straight, another blast up through the gears. We arrive at Shears Corner in 8th at 315, turning left and hitting the apex in 4th at 135, pulling through the right and jinking back to the left for Marina Bay's turn 3 at 85 in 3rd. Back up the gears, we hit Singapore's turn 4 in 5th at 170, and we emerge back in Europe, running up the hill to Barcelona's turn 9, Campsa. 7th gear at 260, we emerge on another long blast down past the Rabid Tifosi, air horns blasting as the trees loom in from the right and indicate the braking point for the Parabolica. Shifting down to 5th and a lowest speed of 190, there'll be no running 2 wheels over the line this time, as the gravel trap will make a welcome return. And as we exit our Monza section, we emerge at Silverstone and the entry to Maggots, 8th gear at 315, Beckett's at 260 and Chapel at 225 in 6th gear. Back on the gas now through the long left-hander, downhill, and a return to Suzuka for the double right at Degner, 250 in 7th for the first, 140 in 4th for the second. It's a quick jump on the power before sliding down to 3rd gear and 125 kilometers an hour as we sweep downhill at Sao Paulo for the Senna S. Normally we'd be shaping up to exit into Curva do Sol, but instead as we power out in 6th at 230, we're running downhill for our second trip to Spa and Pouon. Entry for the first hits us at 300 k's in 7th gear, and we never drop below 260 all the way through. As we exit, the track narrows and we arrive at a new sequence from Hanoi. At the end of the straight, there's a tight right in 2nd gear, which immediately becomes a tight but very long left while accelerating in 2nd. Careful to keep the rear from snapping around, and we're kicking back through the right and onto another straight, which eventually will become the dusty climbs of the start-finish straight at Bahrain. From over 315 kilometers an hour, it's hard on the brakes and another good overtaking spot. 2nd gear and just 75 kilometers an hour at the apex, squeezing the throttle for the left kink at 150 in 3rd and turn 2, and we're immediately into turn 3 at Sochi, accelerating all the way through and rising up through the gears. We hit the exit in 7th at 290 before a quick lift, shift down to 250 in 6th to begin the 3-part long right at Austin that comprises turns 16, 17 and 18. Exit at 290, pull to the right-hand side of the track, and we're back hard on the brakes for Nouvelle Chicane at Monaco. Left, right, left, and all of a sudden we're at Tabac. 4th gear 175 and the mighty Piscine follows. 6th gear 240, quick flick left and right, and then the second new track of 2020 as the drivers negotiate the banking at Zandvoort Hugenholz. One last blast on the power, and where else could we finish the ultimate 2020 lap but the Forosol Stadium and the wall of noise created by the Mexican fans. 135 right, 4th gear, 2nd gear now at 60 for the left and the slowest turn of the track, kink back right in 3rd, 100 k's for the 90-degree right, and open her up again as you round what remains of the Peraltada, and you're back onto the start-finish straight. Cross the line in under 5 minutes, and you've driven an exceptional lap of this monster of a circuit.